Alright, so this video is going to talk about how we um, import motion capture data into this rig that we created in the setup machine. So first thing you do is you have your rig here, and the first thing you need to do is you go under TSM. Well, first you need to select a piece of the rig. You can select anything. You can select that, or you can select the head. And then click on the TSM3 controls, and then click on Create and Constrain a mocap skeleton. So now what this is going to do, it's going to actually create these little extra bones here called duplicate bones. We're going to use these bones to retarget the motion capture onto, and then we're going to bake it out later. But anyways, so once it's done that, the next thing you need to do is you need to actually create a HumanIK skeletal definition. So to do that, you go to Skeleton, HumanIK. Oh, sorry, it's hidden behind my thing here. Okay, so this is a kind of a tedious process, but the easiest way to do this is to select your duplicate reference, which is actually created. So it's under here. So under your TSM3 rig, under TSM3 root, under TSM3 craft. Still don't know what craft means. It's right here, duplicate reference, and then you want to select the hierarchy, and then it helps to isolate it, so this way it'll make it easier to select. Okay, so now you want to define the characters. So let's just delete these ones. So okay, now you should when you first click on it and you don't have any characters, it should come to this menu here. So the first thing what you want to do is you want to create character definition there. And now under definition, you have your controls and your definition. So the first thing you need to do is you need to assign the bones to the definition. So let's go ahead and double click on this to assign the head first, and then you pick the head joint, which for me is actually right here. Yeah. You'll notice that my head, I deleted the top part of the head because it's kind of a waste. When you import it into Unreal, it doesn't get used anyway. So so the neck, let's do that. Okay, shoulders right here, arms right there. Now because my arms are named correctly, like I have like right forearm and then left forearm, it'll automatically assign the left forearm because it's pretty smart like that. Yeah, like under the naming conventions, mirror matching, whatever. It just, I don't know, just works. Okay, the hand, let's do that. The fingers, like I'm not gonna get into this because the video is gonna be too long. But the fingers basically, actually no wait, I should probably get into the fingers because there's a weird quirk about the fingers. Now, so now I'm selecting the right hand finger. So when I double click on that, and then I select the right thumb, it for some reason it just jumps to the left thumb. Now I don't want to go move my screen over and then select the left thumb. So I have to make sure that I get out of that and then click on the right hand again. It's kind of a weird quirk. I think it's a bug in HumanIK. So you gotta constantly get out of it every time you select it because it's mirroring to the right or to the left hand. But there's actually another way of doing it so it doesn't do that stupid swap. You can actually, if you click on the bone first, like if you click on the bone first, and then right click on this here and then assign to the selected bone, that will fix it. You won't have to. Yeah, actually this is a much easier way of doing it. Just left click here and then right click here, assign to bone, and then left click here and then right click here and then right click, left click there and then left click there, right click there, left click here, right click. Okay, almost done. Now the cool part is it's correctly mirroring it to the left, but it's not switching over to the left, so it doesn't fuck up my process. Oops. Right click there. Right click there. Okay, so that's done. Okay, so one tricky thing here, when you're clicking on the pelvis, when you're assigning the pelvis, this piece right here, don't click on the hips. It's a weird bug with TSM3. Actually, what you need to click on is So let's just clear that again. What you need to click on is the piece. I think it's this piece. No, is that the spine? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Oh, sorry. That was the spine. All right. Don't click on this piece. That's the hip. You want to click on the first spine, which is that one. So let's just clear that again. Oh, by the way, just ignore those two little things here. Those are extra helper bones that I've created for like the penis or something. But anyways, getting back to the spine. Getting back to the hip, you want to click on this piece here. It should be called the spine, which is weird because you'd think it'd be the hip. You think like most people would click on the hip, but it doesn't. Some weird thing about the setup machine's mocap matching is it requires your hip to be targeted to this bone, the spine bone. Anyway, so and then the first spine right here, this spine right here, this one actually clicks on this spine, which is spine 1 in my case, and it should be in your case because I think this name here is actually a default the setup machine name. And then let's do the rest here. Okay, that's done. There. And then for the I don't really have toes, but I do have this last one here, so I like to just assign that to a toe, because my player, he wears boots, and like the boot, the tip of the boot will rotate, so I like to assign that to the first bone of the toe. I think that got carried over, yeah. And then this one for reference. I find that this one's not super important. Like you can actually not have this one turned on, but I just assign it anyways. All right, so once that's done, actually, what I like to do is I actually like to save it out, because so that way you don't have to spend all that time doing it over again. So if you save it out to a template, you can call it like the setup machine template or something like that. Yeah, but I don't need to do that. Okay, so now that that's done, let's unisolate. Oh, sorry, unisolate. And now we'll get back to this thing. All right, so now let's import a mocap animation. So I actually have one set up here, actually. So this is a particularly crazy one where the character is diving. All right, so yeah, there we go. Let's go. Set that to 41. Now, one thing that you need to do when you're importing mocap animations, when you import your target rig, you need to make sure that on the first frame, or not basically the first frame of the animation, but in this case, since I want to keep the first frame, I just create a new timeline, an extra frame on -1. And on the -1 frame, you want to make sure that this guy here, he's in its T-pose. So basically, you want to have his T-pose match your character's T-pose. So you can do that manually by moving the bones like this. Blah, blah, blah. I know, but that's a pain in the ass, right? But I've already saved mine out to a T-pose, so it's easy for me to just load it in here. So basically, I already created the T-pose, and I just exported it to an animation, and I just set it to the start time as -1, and then basically I just basically saved it out to a file called T-pose atom. Now, whenever I want to load it in again, I just select the skeleton, and then just import the animation, and it'll ask you to bring in that T-pose, and it'll automatically fill out these fields as -1, -1, and you want to make sure that's selected in hierarchy, and then go ahead and click that, and now there we go. So the first frame is T-pose, which I created yesterday. So you don't have to keep creating T-poses for every mocap animation you bring in. You can just save it out like that. Okay. All right. So the next step you need to do is now you notice I brought this biped in. It actually came in from 3D Studios Max. One of the weird quirks about 3D Studios Max is it uses spaces between. So basically, this was actually called bib01 space pelvis, but because Maya doesn't have spaces, like you can't actually put spaces in Maya. Uh, when you imported this, it actually converted that space to a something called a FBX ASCII 032. So this code actually represents a space in ASCII. So anyways, long story short is you're gonna need to rename these to something more, so something not this ugly. Because I found that when I created a character, so basically, okay, to do the mocap matching, you need to create two characters. So one is your actual setup machine character, and then the second one is your new character, the one that you just imported, the motion capture character. And I found that when these names were set up like that, it didn't like it. It just fucked up. So anyways, what I did was I created a script that would just basically rename these to something more, um, something like this, like that. Boom. So I just basically, I basically just replaced the spaces with the underscore. Now to do that, there's something. Actually, I just the script for it looks like this. Actually, basically, yeah. So basically, this is the script. Basically, I select the biped, and then its hierarchy, and then I just run this command: search and replace names. So basically, I'm replacing all of the FVX ASCII 032s with underscores. Yeah. So I need to do that twice because some of these had two spaces. So basically, yeah. So the second time it just captured it. So if I only had it done once, it would have missed the second FBX ASCII. Anyways, you can go ahead and copy this script and run it if you are importing a 3D Studios Max biped. If you're not, then you should be all right, because as I said, the problem arises when you have names that have that FBX ASCII. So once you've done that, you renamed it to something more simple. Now what we need to do is we need to isolate this thing again. And then we need to create the definition again. So, tedious, right? Do the head, blah, blah, blah. Do the neck, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to skip this part because I already saved out the definition. So because I already saved out the definition, I'm just going to select it all again and then just load in the definition that I saved out. I believe I called it this. So then boom, yeah. So now what it just did, it automatically filled it out because the names matched up with the definitions that I saved out. So yeah, so to save it out, all you need to do is you just click on this again, save skeleton definition, and then call it whatever, test save. And it'll just, and then next, if you want to load it back up, it should appear under here under test save. So that's done. Now we've got two characters basically that have definitions in HumanIK. So we got character 1, which is our TSM or the setup machine rig, our actual character that we're going to export to Unreal, and then we got character 2, the motion capture character. Now you want to make sure you're on the first frame, or sorry, yeah, the very first frame of your animation, and then now to match it, you just click on character 1 and then click on the source as character 2. Now what it's going to do is it's basically matched the animation, and boom, it looks pretty good. Not bad, not bad. One thing I like to do is I like to turn off this IK here, and because I found that it just looks fucked up whenever I did some weird animations. So make sure that this is turned off in your character 1. Turn that off. Okay, so now that that's done, now what we want to do is we want to bake these to our rig, because right now they're just on the duplicate reference bones actually. So what we need to do is we need to tell TSM3 to bake the animation on this duplicate reference to the control rig, which is all these IK joints and all that lovely jazz. So what that allows us to do is it allows us to basically modify the animation later using layers and stuff like that. So to bake it, all you do is just click on transfer mocap to skeleton. Now it's going to go all the way over there across the whole time frame, and it just breaks it. And now you notice it deleted the duplicate reference skeleton, because you don't need that anymore. It basically transfers the mocap skeleton to your controls, and it deletes your duplicate skeleton. So now if you look at your, you can also delete this one as well, your mocap skeleton, because we're not going to need that. So just delete that, because we already have the motion transferred over to the control rig. And now you can set that to 0. And now you can actually modify the animation using layers, or you can just like modify it here. But obviously you don't want to do this, because mocap data creates keyframes on every frame. So it's kind of so the best way to work with mocap data is actually just to create layers in a new animation layer. So let's say I want to modify the hands here. So what I want to do is select all of the hand controllers. Oh, sorry. That's the red ones are the hand controllers. Yeah, and then I'm gonna create layer from selected. And so now what it's done is now the first thing you want to do is you want to create a key. I don't know why Maya doesn't automatically do this, but it's kind of, I find it kind of annoying. But anyways, now you can actually go ahead and modify the animation, and it will basically layer your modifications on top of the existing mocap animation. Pretty cool, yeah. So this is a great way of just fixing some errors in your mocap. So that's not. Yeah. Anyways, so that's a whole new tutorial in and of itself, and I'm not going to go over that. Oh, what happened to that hand there? It's fucked up. Let me see this. Oh, okay, that's weird. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'm not going to go into layered animation. There's tons of videos on that. So that's pretty much it. That's how you work with mocap data in the setup machine. So for my next video, I'm just going to talk about how I export this into Unreal.